Well, hello everyone. It's Dr. Pete and happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you. Today I'm going to talk about what is wrong with our kids. Roll it. So if you're a parent out there and you've got young kids, either, teenage kids or, teenage and 20-year-old kids. I know a lot of the adults today are asking, what has happened to this generation? What is wrong with these kids? And I want to talk about something from the neurobiology world that I come from that may help to explain some of this. But first and foremost, let me just say this. With each one of us, I don't care if you're a kid or an adult, there are a lot of things that can be going wrong within us. Certainly we could have had physical or emotional traumas. We may have some genetic mutations. There's all types of things that people will want to argue my main point against me. So I want to get rid of all that for a moment and say, I understand that there are certain medical probabilities that our children may be suffering from. But putting that aside, let's get right to the meat of it. So, here's the key. Do you want to know what's wrong with your kids? Because if you do, you simply have to look in the mirror. Yep, I just said it. Look in the mirror. Now, why is that? Well, let's go to the brain. In the world of neurology, I want you to think about the brain of your underdeveloped child in the womb of either your wife or, if you're the mom, inside of you. Around the 6th month of life, that child's brain is developing tremendously inside the womb as a consequence of what the mother is experiencing about her world. Let's say you, the mom at home, come home to an amazing husband who loves you and who wants to just dote over you and take care of you and just help you to nest during that all-important time. If that's what's going on in your world, you're one leg up when it comes to developing a healthy child. And then if your in-laws or your parents or friends and relatives, people around you, love and support you, what mom is going through is this amazing time in her life where she's pregnant, she's going to give birth to this amazing child, and the child is inside experiencing all these released hormones that the mother's putting out as a consequence of the world that she's living in right now. She's happy, she's excited to be a mom. The developing baby's brain is literally experiencing what the mom is experiencing, which is joy, happiness, a little bit of excitement, some nerves, all these things. The development of the child's brain is predicated on what mom is experiencing. And if you want to know how that works, it's simply mom experiences the release of neurohormones and peptides and transmitters from her brain, which enter into the blood and then cross the blood-brain barrier and through the placenta into the baby. So before the baby is even born, the baby is already developing his or her way in the way to see this world. Even though it doesn't know a thing about anything, it's experiencing it through its mom. Then the baby enters into the world. The baby comes out and immediately has no capacity to think on any critical level because the brain frequency is so low. But what that child does over time is that it is taking in its world by just experiencing it through its sensors, through its hearing, through its eyes, through its nose, through its taste, through its smell, everything. So the child is picking up everything that you do, mom and dad, every way you speak to each other. Every little single teeny thing you say and do, the baby picks up. Absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts. But the child at that young age, between now the age of birth and 6 years old, doesn't know what to do with any of this. It's just in a complete download phase. It's taking everything in that it learns. Give you an example. Mom and dad are in the kitchen. Baby is 1 year old, sitting at the table in the high chair, having a little teething biscuit or something. I don't know. So mom and dad are now bitching at each other big time. Dad's ripping mom because she doesn't do this and she doesn't do that. And mom is giving it right back. And there's a big argument going on. And eventually mom turns to dad and says, hey, enough. The baby's sitting right here. Dad gets pissed and says, it's a baby. Doesn't understand a damn word we're saying. She just shut your mouth and continue the damn argument with me because I'm right. And here's the baby going, whoa, I don't know what they're saying and I have no idea what it means, but I'm downloading it, downloading it, downloading it. Where? Into the emotional piece of their brain. So that brain is turning on consistently, constantly, pulling down data and information, but will not know how to use it until after the age of 6, when the brain frequency rises large or high enough or fast enough to be able to do something with it. So you have to realize that, like, when you take a child that picks up it's been watching you on the cell phone. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone, right? I'm actually recording a second piece with it at the moment. That cell phone is picked up by the child and he goes, daddy, puts it next to his ear, starts talking, but has no idea what they're doing with it. They're mirroring you, they're mimicking you. At some point though, after they pass the age of 6, now the brain frequency rises from these very slow frequencies that the baby started developing data with, and then turns it on and has no idea what to do with it. Because every situation that they get in school, they get thrown out of class, they don't want to study, they want to do drugs, they're upset like crazy, they hate you. And what are they? They're a reflection of the environment that they're grown up in. Now listen, I'm not going to place every single bit of the blame on mom and dad, because there are in-laws, there are uncles, there are aunts, there are young teachers, there are school teachers, and what's the other word I'm looking for? For coaches, there are other people get involved, but most of them weren't there between the age of 0 and 6. You know, the Jesuit priests for the last 400 years have always said this: you show me the 6-year-old son and I will show you the man. Because most of what we learn comes between 0 and 6. So if you're struggling right now with your child at home, not doing well in school, doesn't give a damn, is completely shut off, you have to realize that they learned this somewhere. They learned it somewhere, and they likely learned it from you and the way you treat your spouse. And maybe the spouse isn't even in the house. Maybe you're a single parent at home who has to go out and work his or her butt off to make ends meet. You have to recognize, when you sit back and you look at your child, that raising them isn't simply about putting clothes on their back and food on the table. It's about how you relate with them and the time that you spend with them. Now, I have a 15-year-old boy at home and I love him like crazy. But again, I have to recognize that he's 15. He's trying to figure out the world, and he's not very verbal. Doesn't speak to me as often as I would like to speak, but I have to understand that that's part of the way the brain development goes. But what he does do when I'm not around is he behaves in the manner that I behave throughout his lifetime. He says please and thank you. He works really hard at what he does. Although he may not be verbal at this moment, that'll come in time. So you have to realize that your child, if your child is suffering right now and has not had the skills, the personal skills to be able to get past it, that's not about you trying to fix your child. It's about you trying to fix yourself. The more you change yourself, you're the leader of your family. The more you invest yourself in personal development, the happier you are, the better you see a situation, the just more zest and pizzazz that you have for life. It's going to rub off on your children. Even your adult children, it still rubs off on them. You want to make your kids or help your kids to get where they need to be in life, then you need to get there first. I'm sorry if it sounds sobering, but it's oh so true. Present company included. Me and my beautiful wife, Lisa, we have 2 kids. We live by these principles. We're home. We're there for them. We spend time with them. We spend that extra moment to explain what life is about. And even though they don't respond verbally, they're listening and they're getting it. Today, if you're a kid watching this, there's nothing wrong with you. You might just be in the wrong environment. And remember that environment rules the day. We tell our children, don't hang out with the turkeys if you want to fly with the eagles. You hang out with idiots who become one. Well, what about us? What about us as adults? Who are we hanging out with? What are our influences? Hey man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So while you're busy hating your children, one of my friends recently said to me, hates his child. You don't hate your child, you hate their behavior. And if you can't stand their behavior, it's because you can't stand the behavior of yourself. And that pisses you off. What you're truly seeing in your child is yourself. That's a sobering feeling. But listen, it's not etched in stone for life. It can be changed at any time. Loving, caring, different perspectives, they can change at any time they want. And I would suggest that you start thinking about changing yourself first out of all situations. Stop pointing the finger, start looking in the mirror, and start realizing that you need to change your environment and be a happy, more loving parent, and watch and see what happens to your kids. They'll follow you. All right, that's all I got for today. I hope it gives you some perspective. And I can't wait to see you next week. Change your attitude and see what happens to your kids. Theirs will change with you. All right, listen, if you like this segment, think about giving me a thumbs up. If you want more on any topic, number one, subscribe, be part of our community, and put something in the notes down below if you're struggling with your kids, if you're having some things that you just can't seem to get past. And I'd love to give you my reflection of my years in neuropsychology and neurobiology, all right? And with that, have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you soon.